So we'll teach you how to do proper judgment and inaccurate judgment. So first, before we begin, let us understand, where does judgment come from? Because when we were born, I don't know, anyone here seen little babies? The babies, they will put their hand in their mouth and pick their nose and smear their face and put it back in their mouth. And they are so happy to do that in front of everyone. And they have diapers on, they can poop everywhere and pee everywhere and no problems. They don't feel bad. And that was, all of you are like that. Because when we were children, we have this state of purity where we are not affected by judgment, because that's not something that we are affected by yet, because we are in a state of purity. So we are not born with this quality of judging ourselves. I remember I was on a train one time in the subway in Atlanta, and this baby was sitting on the stroller and he was picking his nose, eating and picking the cookies and eating with the same nose. There was slobber all over him and he was putting it all over his face. And everybody was looking at the baby and they were laughing. And the more the people were looking at him, the more he was making a mess of himself, completely free of judgment. So what happened? If we were born without judgment, then what happened? How did it come into our life? And why does it consume our existence? So what we just discovered is that judgment is an acquired quality in this life. Okay, so we discovered that judgment is something we acquired. Now, I want to make the statement that judgment is a necessity. It is necessary for us to live life and have a high quality of experience in life. Whenever you go to college, you put many, many colleges online, and then you judge which one is good, which one is what, and then you pick the best college, correct? Who here has had a boyfriend or a girlfriend in their life? So also for that, you have to, make sure that you're judging this person. Does he look nice? Is he kind? Is he going to be a jerk? And you think of all these calculations in your mind, and they also do the same calculation. So judgment is needed to keep you safe and protected. And it gives you the ability to choose what is best for you. Even when you go to the grocery store, you take the two things. I'm going to get croissants. You look at all the different croissants, and then you look and you choose, and then you make comparisons, and then you decide, I want this one and not this one. In Atlanta, where we live in the monk mode, there are many gas stations around. So we drive around to see which one has the cheapest gas, so we can fill up all our cars. So we're constantly doing comparison and judging what is the distance we have to drive, which one is the best one, which one has good probabilities of having a 5 cents cheaper than other gas stations. So in this way, we're constantly looking to make sure that we get the best deal. Do you all agree that you all like to get the best deal and you do comparisons and buy the best thing for you? Yes. Have you also sometimes walked in the street and you saw a person and you looked at the person and you immediately thought, oh no, this looks scary. And then you cross the street and walk? Yes. So to be, to have this quality of judgment, it is a constitutional nature of who we are in this world. So we are always trying to make sure we have safety and security, and that everything we do is the best thing for us. And the reason we do this is because our nature is always to be safe, always to be secure, always to be loved, and always to have the best. That is the nature of who we are as souls, as Atma. This is where the problem is. The problem is when we are affected by the judgment of others, when we live our lives comparing and living our lives based on how others view us and how others value us. And this becomes a big part of why we have so much problem with self-judgment. The TVs that tell us if you buy this dress, you'll be considered beautiful. And my friends tell me that if I drive a Tesla car, then I'm considered to be successful. And so there is an image of what the world and what others think is perfect, beautiful, success, intelligent, smart. And we are constantly made to compare ourselves based on our others' perception. And sometimes it is not even conscious, it is subconsciously comparing ourselves based on how others think of us, and we start to judge ourselves. And so there's 3 layers of judgment that I'll present to you. And the first judgment is the judgment of the body. What is an ideal physiology? What is an ideal physical body? Thin, slim, cheek shrunk, and beautiful hair. And there is a stereotype that is presented. I think that is what a person should look like. And it's very big pandemic, especially in the developing nations and all first world countries. The media has played such an interesting role that you must look like that. You must have a sharp nose. You must have beautiful blue eyes. And they have been very distinct about what is beauty. And so anyone that does not fit that mold, then something is wrong with you. Like, girl, why are you eating too much? Why are you eating too little? Why didn't you, dye your hair blonde or whatever it is? So there's this constant image makeover and competition that's happening to fit in. I don't know one person in this world who doesn't have a subtle sense of self-judgment about their body. There's something about their body they don't like. Some people maybe 2 things, some people maybe 3 things, some people maybe many things. Everyone has something about their bodies that they don't like. Is there anyone here who feels there is nothing they want to fix in their body? I was shocked. One person, so confident, everything was so nice, and I asked him, "What would you like to fix about yourself?" He goes, "I don't like my pinky, the nail. I wish I had a better nail curve because this part of the nail it sticks out, and I'm so disturbed by it. It's such a big problem in my life. I'm always self-conscious about my little pinky and my nails." And I was thinking, okay. So in this world, you will see, at least in America, we see, the fair-skinned people that like to go to the sauna, go to the beach and get darker, and the darker people are trying to get brighter, and people with blonde hair trying to become brunette, and brunette are trying to become blonde hair, and blonde is trying to have black hair. So this constant dissatisfaction with their body and just their appearance, physical appearance. People are now getting so frustrated. Now the people who are naturally bigger boned, they are fighting back, and now they have to make clothes, designs to fit them, so that, they're fighting back the system. So in this way, they're all trying to fit in, and whatever they are, they want everyone else to be like them. So this is the first layer of self-judgment, which is judging the body that you had no control over when it was made. You didn't get to pick your nose, you didn't get to pick your hair, you didn't get to pick your fingers, you didn't get to pick your pinky. You came as this beautiful package. And the second layer of judgment that we have is we judge ourselves based on our belief system, right? We think that whatever our system is, and we're always separating our belief system with others and isolating ourselves or isolating them. We are better than them, or we're not good enough like them. So there is that belief system that each and everyone has based on their upbringing, based on the community they grew up in, and they start judging themselves. Is my faith, is my belief system, is it okay? Is it okay for me to do meditation? Is that getting a little too uh, cultish? Is that getting a little too uh, you know out there, or a little bit like on the voodoo side of things? So people start to really start to question anything about their belief system. I know when I go to City Hall, sometimes I just go like this, and in my subconscious mind, I'm wondering what they're thinking of me. Do they think I'm weird because, I look like a yogi, or to them, I may look like just like a homeless person. So in my mind, I start to think. So then when I go to them and we talk, they're very intrigued. They're like, hey, you look pretty exotic. And then we have a very beautiful conversation to explain to them, you know, that, I practice yoga and meditation, and then people are like, oh, that's so cool. And then we get into a beautiful conversation, so that, I don't feel that my belief system of practicing spirituality is something that I should be worried about, that I should be afraid of. I should be, overly concerned what others might think about my spiritual practices. Raise your hand if you know someone in your life, if you told them you were doing yoga and meditation, they'll think something is wrong with you. It's quite insane that, we are so worried that our belief system, that someone will judge us for our belief system. And the third one is our emotional layer of judgment, which is that, if I reveal to Arjuna that I get angry sometimes, he's going to judge me, because anger means that something is wrong with me. I'm not fully stable. So therefore, whenever I'm angry, I judge myself and hold myself as though something is wrong with me. And many times you'll notice that we are very, very, very hard on ourselves when it comes to this emotions that we have. We beat ourselves down because we have some, emotional outburst, or we cry, or we're sad, or we have anxiety sometimes. We are so hard on ourselves. We judge ourselves that something is wrong with me. I'm crazy. I need to go see a doctor. I need to be put on medication. And this one is so deadly, because you isolate yourself so much, because you don't want to be seen around people. You don't want to be seen by anyone. And you just isolate yourself more and more. And the only time you go out of your apartment or your house is to see the doctors. So this, we understood that we are free of judgment when we're born, and judgment is a necessity for us to be safe and secure in this world. And the third thing we learned is that we judge on our body, we judge our own belief systems, and we also judge the emotions, our own shortcomings, some emotional shortcoming, and we are very, very heavy on ourselves. Okay, so now I want to give you some tips on, now you know how all of that works. Now I want to give you a few pointers on how you can be free from self-judgment. Number one principle is that everyone in this world judges. It's a fact that everyone judges. For example, when I meet you, when I see you, I make a judgment too. But what is that judgment? I'm looking at your beautiful qualities. I'm admiring you. I'm making a call. I'm making a judgment on who you are. And my judgment is generally something that I see good in others. The only judgment that matters to you is your judgment of yourself, not your judgment comparing yourself to others. And so, a very important part of this principle is that only you know your truth, and no one in the world knows your truth. So you should always live from your truth and speak from your truth. Whenever you are with others, be authentic and speak your truth. Don't try to, accommodate just to fit in to someone else's truth. And the second principle is that whenever there is judgment given to you, you should always welcome it. Accepting does not mean that it becomes you, because everyone in this world will make a judgment of you. Just because they have a judgment does not mean that it is your truth. It is their perception of what is their truth that is being projected onto you. See, because we like it or not, you are going to get judged by somebody outside or not. Everyone's going to judge you. If you're thinking, oh, why are they judging me? Why do they think like this of me? And you want to change their perspective on how they judge you and why they judge you, you're going to get frustrated and you will not end up with much success. So whatever you're doing in your life, I like the term to use, is perfect, because your perfection, it's you. Whether someone accepts you as perfect or not, that's their problem. So your truth is that you are a perfect human being. You may want to tweak something about yourself, and sure, you can always be more perfect and most perfect. No problems. But in principle, we have to understand that God has created us as perfect beings. We were not imperfect. Imperfection is something that is imposed on us, and we need to remove those imperfections by realizing that we are perfect. Little things means you can become more perfect and you can become most perfect. So we are already perfect.
Yeah.
We can change little things to become more perfect and eventually most perfect. Because in the first verse of one of the Upanishads, one of the beautiful yoga texts, it explains Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam Eva Sishyate, which means that God or divine is perfect, and everything God creates, the divine creates, it's also perfect. And whatever is taken out of the perfect also becomes perfect, and perfect always remains perfect. The only issue is what lens do we have to understand and really experience this perfection. Our belief is a big part of who we are today. Our belief system creates our reality. So in this case, I mentioned your spiritual belief system, but belief system could be on anything. It's a very broad term. Your belief system about marriage, your belief system about, different social issues, your belief system about different moral and ethical issues. So there is a system, and when our belief system that we have acquired in our lives, we judge ourselves about our belief system. And that belief system is a very personal thing. But yet we judge ourselves so much so. If I'm, if I'm a Christian, why should I be, I'm convinced that's my belief system. I'm afraid to speak about it in a certain group, in a certain environment, because there is that fear that we that we will be judged, that we judge ourselves for our belief system because we're not the same or we're different. There's many reasons why our belief system becomes another point of internal clash with ourselves. We are often afraid to speak our belief system in gatherings because we judge ourselves, and we're very heavy and strict with ourselves because if we have a certain belief system, we don't follow it to the T, then we're like, oh, I'm such a bad person. I am such a useless yogi. I am such a bad this. I'm such a bad that. So there is that huge self-judgment that comes from our belief systems. And it's one of the biggest problems in the world. That is why in the church, you have to go every Sunday to go and say, and confession. Oh, I have done this wrong. I have done that wrong. I'm so sorry. So I don't go to hell. And you have to constantly do this because our belief system, we're not able to live up to it. And then we are constantly judging ourselves. Does that make any sense, Qatar? Okay. And the emotional judgment is you're not allowed to have any emotional problems. So if you ever get sad, you start to think something is wrong with me. You start to spiral down and go down the rabbit hole, So any mental suffering that we have, we are so hard on ourselves about it, so hard. One of my students, she's finishing her PhD, and one day she said, I'm having some anxiety attacks. Do you think I'm schizophrenic? So imagine just a little emotion of anxiety, and we are very quick to judge ourselves and say, oh, something is wrong with me. I probably need to see a psychiatrist because, I think I'm schizophrenic. And I asked her so many questions, and there was no symptoms of schizophrenia. It was very clear that there was a lot of family pressure. And this family pressure was causing her to have such anxiety, that to the point where she's thinking that something is severely wrong with her mentally and psychologically. So yeah, it's important to realize that we were born perfect, because when we were young, we were perfect, and something happened. Let's get back to us operating from that space of being perfect.